Good morning to one and all, and I would also like to welcome all the speakers here today. We have the Director of Cultural Heritage of the Generalitat, Mr. Josep Pujol, the Director of the Generalitat, and Mrs. Pina Solà, who is the President of the Archive Section of Sports of the ICA-SPO. We are here for this first international conference on sport archives. We have organized together with the Regional Council, the Provincial Council and the City Council, and together with the International Archive Council. And in March we received this proposal, and the idea was to organize a conference, a meeting on archives, and we were very happy in Girona to be able to organize this seminar, this international conference. And we didn't think about it twice, because it is a great luxury to be able to do this here, to organize this here, so that we can make accessible all these sport archives that bear witness to this human activity that is so disseminated throughout the world. Sport is education, sport is health, and it's a tool of social integration. That's why it's very important to us to be able to cooperate with the ICA to safeguard the heritage of all these sports documents, all these documents that come from the sports clubs and sports federations. We think it's something very important to do and very urgent to do, particularly bearing in mind that in our region we have very few sports archives that are in good condition and accessible to all citizens. Therefore, this is a task and an obligation that we have with our citizens. These archives are part of a human activity that has taken place during the last 2 centuries, and it also refers, of course, to the present. These archives are key to establish the collective memory and the individual memory of our society. All these documents, all these archives can be used for communication, for research, for dissemination, and all these resources will be very important for society. The main goal of this first meeting, which will be organized once every 2 years, is to raise awareness in the sports world among the clubs, the federations, the physical therapists, the reporters, everybody, all these stakeholders in this world. You know how important, for example, the media are in football. If you have an important match, an important football match such as Madrid-Barça, you know how everything else in life just stops. And for the public administrations and for the sport administration, it's very important to establish effective policies and effective strategies to be able to preserve all the documents that have been produced during their activities for the past, the present, and the future. And we have 141 participants in this meeting today. Thank you very much for coming here. We have sports professionals, federations, and so on. And we also have an international representation of China, Andorra, Switzerland, Finland, and many other countries. So we feel very happy with this international participation. We are very happy and we are very proud as a city to welcome you here in Girona. We also hope that you have time to visit our city. This is a beautiful city, very, very beautiful and charming as well. I hope you can visit the old quarter, the quaint old quarter. I hope you like it. And to end, I'd also like to say that we are very happy to organize this meeting here today because this is a project that will be providing information and tools to be able to preserve sports archives and sports files for the whole of society. And as Nelson Mandela used to say, sport changes the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite people in a way that nothing else has. Now I will give the floor to Ms. Fina Sola, who is the president of the ICA and the SPO. Thank you. Good morning. First of all, I'd like to say that the ICA, throughout the SPO, would like to thank the quick response and the efforts made by the Provincial Council of Girona when we proposed to organize in 2018 the first SPO meeting. And also I would like to thank the trust of the Provincial Council of Girona and the Girona City Council for organizing this first international meeting. And I would also like to thank the Culture Department and Presidency Department of Sports of the Generalitat of Catalonia. And when we talk about the world of sports, we're talking about many different stakeholders. We're talking about sports people, we're talking about media, we're talking about archivists, and the idea is to safeguard the memory of sport with a common interest, and this is an added value. As we've already heard, we have today a large number of participants from different countries that will have also a great impact on the media. And there are so many topics that we have to deal with in the area of sports archives and so many experiences to share that it is very clear to us, the organizers, that it's very important to organize this meeting in Girona once every 2 years. And this has been the first one. And we would also like to mention the work of the head of the archives in the Provincial Council of Girona and the City Council in Girona, because without their help it wouldn't have been possible to organize this meeting. It's been a pleasure to work with them, and I would like to thank all the participants for coming here today and for wanting to know more about sports archives. And we hope that you really enjoy it and that you want to know more in the future. Thank you. Thank you very much. I will now give the floor to Mr. Josep Pujol, who is the Territorial Director of Sports in Girona. Thank you very much, Maria Anjos, Vice President of the Provincial Council, Mrs. Elsa Ibarz, Director of Cultural Heritage at the Generalitat. And we also have today here with us Mrs. Fina Sola, who is the President of the ICA and SPO. And I would also like to thank the President of the archivists who are here today, and all the heads of federations and all the other speakers that will be giving us their presentations here today in this meeting. And I would like to thank everybody for being here. Sport is a very important topic, and we have this first international meeting of sports archives that we are opening here today with the help of the City Council, the Provincial Council, the Catalan government, and the Archive Department to organize this meeting. I hope you really enjoy it. And in this way we have started a project that after many years and with the cooperation of the whole fabric that envelops the world of sport, media, universities and the associations, the sport clubs and all the sports federations and sport entities, and of course the athletes, this will help raise awareness about the need of preserving the archives of all the individuals and entities, private and public, because they're a key part of the individual and collective memory of the world of sport and society. It's very important to be able to preserve and archive this memory. Photos, interviews, reports, medical documents, strategic plans, all these documents, if they are properly archived and classified by the professionals who are here today, make up an essential part of the collective memory of our country. And it's thanks to you that I'm also part of this sport history, because in 1988, with the Girona basketball team that was called Club Balbi Girona, we went to the ACB. So I am part of this sport history, and it's thanks to you that this history is accessible today, and this is absolutely essential. In the same way that we had 2 years ago the Girona Football Club moving up to the first division, and we have all the archives there, and we are going to have also the year of the cultural heritage very soon, and therefore this year is the Cultural Heritage Year, and therefore it's very important to be able to organize this kind of meetings and to preserve the memory of our country. In the sport world, I have to say that at our department, the sports department, we are working to preserve all the heritage, all the sport heritage that we have, and we also have since 1986 our sports library, and this is due to the fact that the competencies for sport and physical education in 1980 were transferred to this department. And we're talking about more than 10,000 files that form part of the specialized libraries of the Generalitat. The sports library was inaugurated in 1986, as I said, within the current Dr. Malció Colet Sports Center, Sports Research Center, with the goal of disseminating our Catalan archives for research. And this fact has been possible thanks mainly to the donations of important people in the world of sport, such as the athlete Girl Garia or Joan Antoni Samarang, who was a well-known collectionist. This building is now being refurbished, and I would like to explain briefly what this building represents. It belongs to the Generalitat of Catalonia, the Catalan government. It is a building of the architect Josep Maria Puig and Cadafalch, and Dr. Malció was a gynecologist who then started working at the Catalan government because he was a very good friend of Antoni Samarang, and he transferred this building to the Catalan government, provided that the building was always used for sport research. And now the refurbishment of this museum, the sports library museum, will be refurbished so that it becomes more participative, more interactive, and so it becomes a place where one can discuss about sport and physical activity from a cross-sectional perspective. And I would encourage you all to create a network and to work as a network that all stakeholders, the citizens and the governments and the private and the public entities should be promoting the preservation, the gathering, collection and preservation of our history. I am sure that all the professionals that are here today in this first meeting of archives in Girona will make us all understand how important sport is in society at all levels as an element of integration that communicates values and that helps us promote change. And I would like to end by congratulating you all for your work, and I do hope that this meeting becomes a reference meeting at a national and international level. Thank you.
Passo la paraula a l'Elsa Ibarra, directora general
I will now give the floor to Mrs. Elsa Ibarra, the Director of Cultural Heritage in the Catalan Government, the Generalitat. Good morning to one and all, and welcome. Vice President of the Provincial Council, Mrs. Solà, Mr. Josep Pujol, Councillor of the City Council, the President of the Sport Archives of ICA, SPO, Fina Solà, the Head of the Territorial Services, Carme Renedo, the Head of the Provincial Council, Angel Coloma, Mr. Angel Boada from the Barcelona City Council, Mr. Enric Cova from the Culture Department, and all members of the ICA who met yesterday here in the city of Girona. I would like to welcome you all. I would like to welcome all the participants and speakers and dear friends. Thank you for being here today. I do believe that this is going to be a very interesting meeting, and it's wonderful to know that we have 140 participants from different disciplines. This is very important. This is one of the things I was most interested in, because we are very interested in archives and archivists, but we don't just want to attract archivists because they are already aware of how important their task is, but it's also important to have all the other disciplines, such as the health professionals, the sports clubs, and citizens in general form part of this meeting and can hear everything that will be explained today in these conferences that will be very interesting, and I'm sure we'll be able to meet our goal of raising awareness among civil society of the importance of sport archives. And anyway, I usually speak a lot and I get a bit nervous. Protocols for me don't really count, so I would just like to go straight to the point and mention firstly how important sport archives are, because they bear witness of a collective and individual activity. Catalonia has a strong tradition of associations in all areas of life, and also in sports, professional sports and amateur sports, and this has made them a reference in our society. In Catalonia, we have over 2,500 sport clubs, out of which over 100 are over 40 years old. And this just goes to show what this activity represents. And all these documents that we have gathered throughout the years, it's important that we can communicate all this information and all these aspects that we believe at the Cultural Heritage Department are important for society. There's another aspect that's also very important, because not everybody here is an archivist. I'm not a professional archivist either, but I am the director of this archive in Catalonia, and we have an archive system in Catalonia that has been created in the municipalities, in the counties, in the provincial areas, throughout this archive network that is very large and widely spread. And this is an element that helps us have this connectivity with society, and it also allows us to document and study and disseminate information. And at our department, at the General Cultural Heritage Department, and together with the Sports Council and the Sports Secretariat at the Catalan Government since 2015. We have been working with archives and sports in a project that's called Fem Sport, Fem Arxiu, which means let's do sports, let's do archives. And before the end of the year, we'll start seeing the first outcomes on the website, and we will also have a special covenant, a special agreement signed. And throughout this project, we are working on these objectives. And one of the objectives was this meeting to have this dissemination of experience, of stories, and of information. The goal, firstly, is to analyze the situation, to know what we have in our territory, and so that we can gather and collect all this information and we can communicate it. So these are the main concepts. This is a topic that's not new to us, as the President knows very well, because she has already been working in this project, and we hope that with everybody's help and support, we will be able to complete it. And to end, I would like to wish you all a very fruitful meeting, and I would like to encourage also all the stakeholders to continue working so that we can continue enjoying all this information. I'm sure that we'll also enjoy all these presentations. Thank you. To end, I would like to thank all those people at the Archive and Sports Department and the ICA who have made this meeting possible, and also the head of Archives of Girona, Elsa Solé, and also Joan Boadas, who is also the head of Archives in the city of Girona. Without them, this wouldn't have been possible. I would also like to thank the Catalan government, Culture Department, and the Sports Secretariat, and also I would like to thank Espai Caixa for hosting this meeting here, and all the entities that have cooperated in the organization of this meeting, and we hope to meet again in 2 years' time. And now, as City Councillor, I would like to encourage you all to visit our city, to enjoy our cuisine. It's a beautiful city, and you'll be very, very welcome, and I'm sure you're going to like it very much. Thank you very much.